This is an excerpt from my ebook, the Fujifilm XPro2 Video Setup Guide. In this guide, you'll find the necessary steps for setting up your XPro2 to shoot video. Today we're going to talk about what I deem the hybrid manual mode. And this mode has advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are it's a quick setup and it allows exposure compensation during video record. The disadvantage is it's not a fully manual exposure mode and you will get ISO shift on scene changes. So we begin by setting up the XPro2 to tact, which is the top dial to T, giving you the full spectrum of shutter speeds, A for the auto ISO preset, and C is your compensation. Now the shutter speed and the compensation is controlled with the front command dial. The auto ISO is set to default sensitivity 200, max sensitivity to 3200, and shutter speed to 1/60th. This hybrid manual mode is enabled in all focusing modes. Now in this first example, you'll see the camera making an exposure compensation. So we pan over here on this white bag, you'll see the camera making that exposure change. And this is just another example of how the camera will make an exposure compensation. Now in this example, you see the bags are very dark and I'm going to make an exposure compensation on this. I'm going to raise the ISO with the compensation and the camera will stay there. It won't, if you're not going to change your scene, the camera will stay at that exposure, which is much faster than having to change the ISO dial to a hard set. Now here's an example. This is set to a manual ISO setting at 1250. And this is where if you are going to make a scene change, I would recommend setting a hard ISO setting. This is at 1250 and the camera will not compensate. So with the XPro2, you do have a manual exposure setting to where the camera will not compensate. You have full control of that. Now in my ebook, I cover a lot of ground. It's 60 pages. Pretty comprehensive. We go over a lot of steps on how you can set up your XPro2 to shoot video.